Welcome back, devoted listeners, to Sort of Sophisticated. Can we just call it SOS, please, from now on? Because Sort of Sophisticated is really hard for me to say because I have a lisp.
All of a sudden you have a lisp, huh?
I do. I just developed a lisp for Sort of Sophisticated.
But SOS means help.
Well, we're helping people, but really,
We're all becoming more cultured and curious.
I think together. I think that's the whole point.
Right.
I'm Peter. Hi. And this is Amanda, the best co-host ever. And we're back to talk about stuff that really might not matter.
But kind of matters.
Kind of matters.
I think this topic is pretty important.
What is our topic? Do we know our topic today?
Yeah.
What's the topic today?
How do we choose a pope?
Oh my God, how do we choose a pope?
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you know why it's important?
Why is it important?
Because there is a thing right now that's going viral on how in the Vatican,
A thing?
well,
A thing?
a TikTok is
A
going
TikTok.
viral.
What?
And in the Vatican, there is only a spot for one more pope.
Wait, what do you mean a spot? What are you talking about?
So in the Vatican, they have all the pictures of all the
Oh,
popes.
like on the wall or something. And like they have one spot
Only
left.
one spot left. And I have no idea what that means.
Is this the downfall of the Catholic Church? I'm going to hell. Hold on. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay.
Actually,
wow.
they say it's because it's the end times.
Okay. First of all, there is no way this is going to be the last pope. That's wild. And second of all, I think we said we're doing this episode. If you remember, it was because of Conclave, the movie.
I guess it
just
goes
came out.
hand in hand then.
Let's go.
Maybe that's why it's going viral, because of Conclave. It started the conversation.
That it reminds me of what is it? The year 2000, like when we had all the like
The Y2K.
At Y2K. Yes, everything was going to go to. Okay, I have a trivia fun fact.
Okay, go.
Right. Besides the internet and the whole problem with like Y2K, what was the other thing that people were like super panicked about? A very specific group of people.
I don't know.
Gravestones.
What?
Yes. So like people that had already etched whatever it was, born in 1939, died in 19, and they left the other part blank because they already bought their gravestone. They now had to go back and change all of those, and they had to repay for new gravestones.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane. Yes.
So random.
The gravestone maker people made millions and millions of dollars. Okay. Whatever.
It's so morbid to put your. Okay. Anyway.
But I haven't done it. No.
I'm just saying. That's
some people get like they're set well in advance. And by the way, I highly suggest you at least
get your affairs in
get
order.
mildly organized.
Fair.
You know what you should do? Get sort of sophisticated. Yeah. Okay. So Conclave. Let's go.
Did you see it?
I saw it. Did you see it?
I did not.
Oh, you got to go see it.
Very proud of you for being so pop cultured. But
Yes.
So was it good?
It was good. It was good. It was Hollywood good. Like for the most part, they added a bunch of stuff because who wants to watch a boring process of like popes? But they like stayed true to the process for the most part. So like as far as pop culture goes, like 8 out of 10, like they nailed it. And then of course, Hollywood has to go over the top.
But was it good scandal?
It was over the top scandal. Like I don't believe that that's actually what goes on. The crap we're going to learn right now, you're going to freak out at some of the stuff. Like there's a bad and sordid history.
Really?
Yes.
That's shocking.
Oh, no. Yeah, this is bad.
Huh. Did you know all this because you were already Catholic, or did you learn
No,
stuff?
so I knew some of it. And so it's hard, right? Because you want to believe in all the goodness and like that this is a very sacred thing. But it's full of scandal. I mean, this goes all the way back to Jesus Christ, right? Peter. The first apostle, the first pope, and then I don't know, 260 popes later. Like
that's so awful. I didn't know Peter was the first pope.
Peter was the first
I knew
pope.
he was apostle. But...
First pope. Yeah. So a lot of scandal, but I'm going to go with, I'm sticking to the sacred part, and I'm going to do my best as a Catholic and a comedian to try to bring this all together somehow and
keep it lighthearted
and not go to hell. Yeah.
Fair.
That's my job.
But how does learning about the Pope make us more cultured and curious? I mean, it's definitely made me curious, right? The whole conclave premise and all about it has definitely made me curious. And I guess cultured.
Tradition. I think let's start with tradition. I think that's one huge reason, right? Learning about tradition and how you pick your Pope. We talk about history. So it goes all the way back to Jesus. There's a component here. The Pope's not just a religious figure. Like, cut the crap. He's a global political figure, right?
Huh.
And so
I don't think I've ever thought of him as a political figure.
We're gonna go there. This is gonna be fun then. Okay, good.
I don't know. Didn't we just say last episode we're gonna keep politics out of it?
No, well, it's in it. But this is history. This isn't like current. I'm not going like Pope Francis right now. You know what I mean? I'm going back.
Back
like,
in the day.
Yeah, because the Vatican was all over international relations and like being able to talk about international relations and like world affairs and stuff like makes us more globally, politically sophisticated-ish.
I'm going to say, I feel like as an
What?
American that we're not super globally up on the politics.
We're not.
So
Yeah,
I think this is a good one.
it is going to be good. But we have to do our word of the day first.
Oh, yes.
Yes, totally.
Is it like crucifix?
That would be a good one, wouldn't it? But
I mean, that'd be cheating.
that would be right.
That's not even that exciting.
Okay, all right. Should we use hijab? Hijab would be hard.
That would be super hard.
Crucifix and hijab, and you have to do it in the same sentence.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
I don't know.
No. All right, fine. All right, no, don't worry.
Can we abort mission?
I have a real one. Don't
Okay.
worry. I got one locked and loaded here. It's bilious. Yes.
Is that like bulbous? But
Bulbous. I like bulbous better.
Instead of like a bulbous, it's a bilious.
Actually, you're gonna like bilious. Bilious means angry or bad-tempered. And there's another definition: sickeningly unpleasant to look at.
Huh. It's kind of like your face is bilious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also,
that was
also
really
a bucula.
a bucula.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
It was our word of our day.
Do you remember
like,
bucula? You just double chinned me.
I double chinned you and
I'm bilious and bucula.
and unpleasant to look at.
Yes. Okay. All right. So figure it out. You gotta like get it in there somewhere. Jam it in. Okay.
All right, I'll stick it in there. But
Thank you.
before we stick it in anything, can you give me a quick refresher on Catholicism so I can make sure I'm up to speed? Because as we already noted, I'm probably behind.
I don't even know if am I worthy of this? Like, am I going to be smited if I like give a history of Catholicism? I think I need like a deacon or something in the room right now.
Maybe you got like 50 plus years, right? So you're fine.
Oh my God.
Rip through the basics.
I'm ripping right now. Okay.
Let's go.
Cheat sheet. Ready?
Is there a hierarchy?
There is. We got the Pope. That's it. I was just going to do hierarchy. So you got the Pope. He's in charge. It all started with Peter. Now we're at Pope Francis. He's on the top. And the Pope is like the CEO of the church. He is the spiritual leader of like a billion Catholic people.
So is he going to make all the choices?
He does.
Wow.
He's in charge.
Okay.
Large and in charge. Okay. Below him, you got cardinals.
Like the birds?
Yes, like the birds, except they're not birds at all. They wear red, and they're just a bunch of men that walk around in these big robes.
So what
cardinals.
came first? The cardinals of the Catholics or the cardinal of the bird?
The cardinals came like back with creation. You know what I mean? The cardinals were on Noah's Ark. So I mean, like, come on, at least 2 cardinals were.
Didn't they just fly all the time?
By the way, we got to figure that out because I always thought about that. What is going on with all of the birds in Noah's Ark? They didn't all sit in cages. They were all just out. And there weren't just 2 of them. There were probably millions of them. How did they only get?
Oh, no.
The whole bird.
I've never thought of that.
The bird thing and the fish thing throw me off completely. Everything else makes total sense to me. Yes, I'm very confused.
I have never thought about
this.
Oh,
okay. This is not Catholicism. I got to go faster. Okay. So the cardinals are below Pope. And there's 200 cardinals. And they're like the board of directors. Okay. They're like our Senate, right? Okay. So you got president, and then you got Senate. Okay. That's them. They're the guys that elect a Pope. Number 1, first most important job. And then they run the archdiocese. Right? Like
the what?
The archdiocese. They're like Catholic districts. But just think of a city.
So is there an archdiocese of LA?
Yes.
Is there one of Orange County?
There is a diocese of Orange. There's an archdiocese of LA. Okay. And then the diocese is lower. Yes.
Okay.
So it's totally the same as countries, states, cities, counties. It's the same concept. It's just they just have different
regional.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I'm not going to go super far into the whole Catholic org chart here, but then you have archbishops, then bishops, and then priests, and of course deacons are even lower. But anyway, they're all leaders at a more local level, on their way down, in each area. So then when you go to my church, you have a priest. Technically, the priest reports to a bishop. The bishop then would report to a cardinal, and the cardinal would then report to the Pope.
Do any of them report to God?
So yes, they all have a dotted line report to God.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair.
Okay. So basically, does this all make sense? Are you sort of on track with hierarchy of Catholicism? I gave you enough background to know how we're going to start talking about Pope?
Yeah, but I do have one more question.
What?
Do you guys have a voting system? Is everyone just super old, or how does that work? And also, how does conclave tie in with the whole?
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Good point. Okay. So we're going to do this in about 2 seconds. But basically, all the cardinals vote. When a Pope dies, all the cardinals vote, right? But yes, they are totally old, but they have a rule because only cardinals under the age of 80 can vote. Because somehow, if you're over 80, you either can't see anymore or don't have enough faculty. I'm not really sure what that rule is all about. We're only sort of sophisticated. Sorry.
All right. Well, I think that's enough to get us going.
Okay, good.
And if we're not already going to hell,
We probably are going to hell. Well, I'm going to Miquelon, if you remember. I'm
You
going
are.
to Cream of Wheat,
You were
right,
going
right?
to Cream of Wheat.
And you're probably going to visit Gabby. I forgot what the butterfly place was, but it was really cool.
So you mentioned when the Pope dies.
So Pope dies, or in rare cases resigns. If you remember, Pope Benedict the 16th did totally pulled off the like massive upset of all time. Nobody saw coming. 2013, he resigned. I don't even know if that ever happened before in the history of popes. But anyway, oh well, they had to pick a new one. So 99% of the time, Pope dies. 1% of the time, if your name is Pope Benedict the 16th, you decide to resign because you're cool and you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. So then what happens is all the cardinals, all the dudes dressed in red, there's like 200 worldwide, they literally come back to Vatican. Like they are summoned back to Vatican. Yeah. I don't even know how. They must like light fires or something from all over the world.
I feel like this is very Lord of the Rings status.
It's very Lord of the Rings status. It totally reminds me of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, when Pippin lights those like big beacons to alert Gondor that Rohan was being invaded. It was like my favorite part.
See, you just always nerd out.
Well, because that's Lord of the Rings. I'm allowed to, like, I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, right? So they had those those fires, like from each city. Like,
yeah.
Okay, all right, that doesn't really happen. It's like what happens now is they just get one massive group text, I think, that just says, get your ass to the Sistine Chapel, like stat, lock the doors, and we are going to get some shit done, and we're going to vote like right now. So basically that's sort of how it all starts. They just like flock there. And once they're all together, that is when it's officially called a conclave, from the Latin phrase, I had to look this up, conclavis, which translates to with a key.
And thus, what the movie is named after.
That is it. Absolutely, yes.
I love it, but it sounds so secretive. The conclave.
It is secretive. Check this. They're not even let out until they've decided on a next pope. Like they are locked in secret. Doesn't even matter how long it takes.
But they have restrooms and stuff inside.
Do they? This is the Sistine Chapel.
Does it not?
Funny you say that. So I had to look that up. So they have to bring in restrooms right by the Sistine Chapel. Yeah. So how do you like that? Temporary restrooms set up right outside only for cardinals. No unholy butts on the toilet seats. They eat, they sleep there. Well, not like in the Sistine Chapel or anything, but like right next door in this place called Domus Sanctae Marte. That's my Latin. That's all I got. It's called Casa Santa Marta in Italian. It's like right next door to like the Sistine Chapel. All I'm trying to say is that they're cut off from all outside communication during this process. Poo and pee, fine. Food, yes. No phones, no newspapers, no internet, no porn. Just pick a pope. That's it. What?
I feel real bad.
Why? Because they can't see porn. They can't look at porn?
Yeah, that too.
Right.
But because
they totally do. I mean, they have to. No? I don't know.
I hope not in the Sistine Chapel.
Again, I'm going to. No, oh my.
That'd be bad. Sacrilegious
I wonder if
right
that's
there.
ever been done. I want to go do that.
Oh dear.
Okay.
But when I was in the Sistine Chapel,
yes.
Didn't even recognize this.
You were in the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah, Casa Santa Marta.
Yeah, it's like right next door.
No?
Yeah, well, because
nobody pointed that out.
Because that's not a good place. Like that's not where people go, right?
But it's kind of important.
So technically, the whole like selection process. Okay, here's where we get scandalous, right? It's supposed to be guided by the Holy Spirit. The idea is the cardinals, through, I would argue, prayer and reflection, maybe a little meditation, Amanda, would choose the man that God wants to lead the church on earth. That's the program, right? That's the sacred part that should matter. 2/3 majority. And basically what happens if 2/3 agree, white smoke goes up the chimney, St. Peter's Square erupts and cheers. If not, black smoke goes up the chimney, and we keep going round and round until they get a majority. So sounds like pretty chill, right?
Yeah, it sounds too easy.
Okay, so this is where we got a little nuts, because I Googled this shit for like 5 minutes, and you could quickly figure out that the history of conclaves, yeah, like the history of with a key, it's got some dirty dealings. Serious shit, okay? It's way more political. And I almost had a heart attack.
Really?
Yeah. So
here we go.
We're going to go.
Let's go.
You ready? This is
I don't know if I'm ready, but
this is where it gets fun. Okay, so the problem, of course, is that cardinals are men with penises, so they have their own agendas, right?
Yep.
Let's call it what it is.
We're all human.
And we're only being sort of sophisticated, so don't get mad at me here, people. We're going to make this easy and say there are two camps, conservatives and reformers. There's a few more, but those are like the basic big two. And the conservatives are absolutely like hell-bent on preserving tradition in the church, right?
So letting the old men rule.
Okay, perfect. Yes, absolutely. And then, of course, you have reformers. They're trying to push for modernization. Thank God. Oh, sorry. I guess everyone now knows I'm a reformer. Oops, I wasn't
No
supposed to be
bias.
political.
No
Right.
bias.
Okay. But like, I mean, they're trying to address real stuff, like the role of women in the church, like LGBTQ plus issues, like speaking out about all the scandals, like all our sexual abuse stuff, financial corruption stuff, like, right?
Right.
Right.
I think we all should be reformers at this point.
Oh
Put
my
us in.
God.
Let's go, coach.
Let's go. Right. Where you want to go to Cardinal school?
There's a cardinal school.
There's, dude, Stanford Cardinal. There's totally, let's
What?
go to Stanford
Well, I
University.
know it's
They're a
the
cardinal.
Cardinals.
If they're a
but-
tree, but it would still,
Oh, okay.
it's the
I
tree,
was
but
like-
it would be funny if they were the actual Cardinals. Okay. All right. Sorry. So like none of this is really new or anything. So this goes all the way back to the Middle Ages. Like popes were picked based on who everybody thought would be best at keeping stability in Europe and who would like buddy up to all the rich families. Cause like back then, right, nobody cared about America. This was all just Europe because everything started in Europe. So back then it wasn't just about spiritual leadership. Like the Pope was actually like a king, just without a country. Well, it's a small country. Did you know the Vatican's a country?
No, I didn't.
Yes, it's a teeny little country.
Is it really?
Yes, absolutely.
What?
Yeah, I know. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So, and if like this Pope or king was any good, then he basically controlled most of Europe. And when you control Europe, let's say you get tempted to take over the world.
Of course, the devil, because the devil is.
The devil is in
The
us
devil.
all.
I guess so.
Yes. Some more than others.
It's true.
Let's be honest.
So popes are just power hungry maniac,
Um,
kinda.
yeah.
Okay. But who's the worst?
What? What do you mean the worst?
Give me an example of one of the worst popes to reign the Middle Ages.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Because really, like all the
Yeah.
kings and everything, they look to the Pope, right?
Okay.
Like, I don't know. That's what I learned in Bridgerton. So
You're absolutely right. This is the whole point. Ready? Are you ready?
I'm
I
ready.
looked this up.
'Kay.
Okay. The worst. I'm going to just say it. I don't even know because like when I Googled it, there was some pretty bad ones, but I picked one. Pope John the 12th. He reigned from 955 to 964. So like, what is that? 1100 years ago? Yeah. I don't know. Más o menos. Okay. First of all, he was only 18 years old when he was elected Pope. 18.
And then he died at 27?
No. He was Pope from 1955 to 1964.
Yeah, but I thought he died.
I don't know. I have to look that up. Google that. Okay. All right. So the only reason he was picked as Pope is because he backed one of the like richest families in Rome at the time. Like the name he did.
He died.
He died. He
died.
was probably murdered. Okay. So he backed this
Oh.
family called the Tuscalanes, right? That sounds so mafioso. The Tuscalanes.
Mhm. Do you want to know how he died?
How did he die?
A stroke while committing adultery.
Yes. Oh my God, this is excellent. Ready? Okay, here we go.
This is why he's the
You're
worst.
getting ahead. You're getting ahead. Okay, check this out. So first, he turned the Pope's house into a giant rave. Okay.
Well, isn't that his house?
What do you mean his house? What do you mean his
You
house?
said the Pope's house. Wouldn't that
Oh
be
my God. Yes,
like his
totally.
house?
Yes, the whole Vatican. Yes, he turned the whole thing into a rave. Okay.
Wait, he
moved it-
told a rave in the Vatican?
like a rave, put up a bunch of mirrors, red beads and shit, and started like using the church to
No.
fund. Yes. Like, oh, absolutely. I don't know if I made that part up, but you get the idea. Okay. Like gambling, drinking, drugs, like all stuff that's not supposed to be there. And there's evidence. I'm not sure how there's evidence because like we had no cell phones to record or anything back then, but that he would even toast to pagan gods, like not even God, just pagan gods, and invoke them to intervene because he was nervous that the real God was going to kill him. So he was like, yeah, hey, pagan gods, help me like with the real God. This was the Pope.
Why did they pick him?
I don't know, because he was rich and the Tuscalanes wanted to rule all of Europe. Okay. So,
Him, though.
okay. So wait, there's way more than this. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Like murder.
What?
Yeah. Like he
Like he
murdered
murdered
people.
people?
Yes. He murdered people. Yes.
How did he murder people?
Yeah. So good old John the 12th was known to order mutilations and executions of people that spoke out against him, including Amanda, some of his own cardinals, if they didn't agree with him. Like on the regular.
That's crazy shit.
I'm not even done. Okay. Back to your whole like stroking out, like while committing adultery. There's sex stuff.
In the Vatican?
There's a lot of sex stuff. Oh my God. Obviously in the Vatican. Yeah. So I mean, it's not a party unless you include the sex stuff.
I mean, that's
Okay.
what Diddy said.
Right. Not only was he known to have multiple mistresses at the same time, but he was also accused of raping women and in some cases, even nuns.
Peter, this is awful. So bad.
You asked, you wanted to know who the worst
Yeah,
was.
but I didn't imagine. Like, I figured they're all.
John the 12th.
Oh, man.
Power does shit to people. What do you want me to say? And then I think it is excellent, totally apropos, that he died
Stroked out.
in the glorious way of totally doing it and stroked out. Oh my God. He was an asshole. He was a bad pope.
Were popes allowed to get married?
No. No, like this is the whole point. It's completely and totally corrupt.
Huh.
So he's leading the church and really it's just the Tuscalani family. It was just some rich people that wanted to lead the church and just put this guy in charge. It was terrible.
That's awful.
Okay.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. I want to say it gets like better from there. You asked for the worst one.
Yeah.
But so we're gonna move on to the Renaissance, but like it's mildly, it's like
Doesn't get better.
It's sort of better. I don't even know what better is because it's still bad. Okay. It's all shades of badness. Are you ready? Okay.
How are these the people who are leading the church?
Amanda, what do you want me to say? If I lived back then, I wouldn't be Catholic. I don't know what to tell you. I am not following these people. I'm following our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Let's cut the crap. Do you remember the Borgias?
Nope.
Do you remember this? This was a Netflix series. You don't remember this? Oh my God. 2011?
Nope.
The famous Borgias. Okay. The Bilious Borgias. I just did that.
They're that unattractive?
They're that unattractive. No. They're
angry?
They're angry. Yes. Yeah. Okay, we did that. Checked off the box. The Bilious Borgias. Oh, that was so, and I should get extra credit for alliteration.
Yeah. Jinx.
Okay. So side note, it was excellent to watch. Only 3 seasons. No excuses. Amanda, just start writing all the things down that I tell you to watch. And I have an idea. Let's watch them during Christmas break.
Okay.
All right, fine. Okay. So anyway.
I don't even know if that's enough time. Just for the record.
You're probably right. We're going to need a few Christmas.
Not the record show.
So the Borgias basically turned the papacy into their own personal Game of Thrones.
The papacy?
The papacy.
Okay.
The papacy is the whole like concept of the Pope and the tradition of electing the Pope, picking the Pope. The Pope's reign is called the papacy. Got it. Like when you're the president of the United States, right? This is the papacy. Okay. Yes. So Pope Francis is in his papacy. Okay. So basically, the Borgias turned the papacy into their own personal Game of Thrones, but like 2.0 version of Pope John, right? But like less rapey stuff, more illegitimate kids. This dude had 7 kids when he was the Pope.
Yeah, but how many mamas?
At least 2 mamas they know about. Okay. So like he was all over the place, planting the seed. Okay. And then simony, right?
What is simony?
Simony is when you basically purchase votes to gain the papacy. So you buy them.
So it's like a bribe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally and completely a bribe. Yeah.
Okay.
So Rodrigo Borgia ended up becoming Pope Alexander the Sixth, who I would argue is the second worst pope ever. Basically bribed his way to the papacy in 1492.
While Columbus is sailing the ocean blue?
Oh my God. I love you. Way to bring it back to the other podcast. Job well done. So anyway, yeah, he totally bribes his way to the top and then subsequently decides he wants to be a dad. So he made 7 babies with 2 different women that we know about at least, and then used all his Pope power to make his family rich so nobody would like mess with them, which is a total shit show. So here we are, like maybe a little bit better than Pope John the 12th. Because like maybe he wasn't raping people, but like everything else.
If we fast forward to today, does it get better?
You'll see. I don't want to say it gets better. It gets different. We'll go with it gets different. Okay. Let's be real. There's still a debate on how much air quotes you can't see me, listeners, inspiration is actually going on here. Because there's a bunch of power dynamics behind the scenes. Yeah. It's still happening today. Totally. Like just with like our most current Pope.
Pope Francis? Seriously?
Oh yeah, totally. Like not the baby part or like the rapey part. I just mean like the posturing part, like the whole political part.
Oh, like buying votes?
Yeah, like posturing for votes. I want to be careful.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Let me be clear. Like no funny business here, like with parties or sex stuff or anything. Just like money and politics. So do you remember in 2013 when Pope Francis was picked? Like he was seen as like the air quote compromise candidate between the conservatives and the reformers. And the only reason they chose Francis in the first place, besides the fact that, in my opinion, he's a humble Jesuit badass from RG. Let's go. Even though he's more progressive, they knew he would walk the line that needed to be walked sort of between tradition and change. And here we are 10 years later, and he's totally done that exceptionally well, in my opinion, I may add.
So what did he do that was been so exceptional since becoming the Pope?
Well, first of all, he's from Argentina, so he doesn't need to do anything else because my wife was from Argentina. LGBTQ plus people, right? Like he's been way more open to that whole concept, which some traditionalists in the church freak out over. I totally understand that. But he has criticized the laws that criminalize homosexuality. And he has been advocating the churches for everybody. So that's sort of like a big move there, right? And
so he's much more welcoming and
the Catholic Church is having a bit of an issue there. For sure. Yeah.
Figuring out their identity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I'd say good stuff because remember, we're reformers.
What is the Catholic Church going to do after Pope Francis? It sounds like it's going to be a shit show if it's just this power struggle back and forth.
Good question. I don't really know. I'll tell you this, one way or the other, I think they're going to follow the same damn process they followed for the last 900 years because that is now set in stone. The whole conclave concept. Like that's how they're going to roll. Okay.
Really long time.
Yeah, I know, but it is kind of cool. Like when you really think about it, it's just they got to get better at it. But I would argue the next papal election, like whenever that is going to be like really, really important.
Why?
Because like you said, look at all the shit the church is dealing with today. Like, let's be real. The Pope has like real serious influence still, like not just over Catholics, but still over global politics. Like it matters. Folks are like leaders of nations still want to communicate with the Pope and influence the Pope and get their agendas through the Catholic. It's a lot of stuff. And they're still dealing with the sex abuse stuff in the church, the whole lack of transparency with all their spending and where all their money's going. Not to mention like in general, like Catholic declining membership overall. So in one terrible podcaster's humble opinion, the papacy is in trouble and at a giant crossroads, like a big one. Hollywood and Vine crossroads, like big. And I bet like when the next conclave happens, there's going to be a ton of pressure on the cardinals.
I can't even imagine. But also, does the Pope have to be a cardinal before he can be elected Pope?
Oh, don't steal my fun fact thunder.
Okay.
Like it's coming. We're going to answer that. We're going to get to that,
Okay.
right? I just think when they pick this next dude, like, of course they need someone who's spiritual and morally appropriate. I guess that goes without saying, like par for the course. But like way more important, I think it's someone who's going to take ownership and lead the church, like not sit on the fence anymore, like not be this cream of wheat candidate. They got to make a decision one way or the other. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge.
But also, I think that's a perfect segue because I'm going to change the subject.
What are we changing? What are we doing?
For a second.
Okay.
But the moment we've all been waiting for, the movie Conclave.
Conclave. Let's go. Enough of history. Who the hell wants to talk about history anyway, Amanda?
I mean, I think we have to know the history, right, to be able to understand the beauty of Conclave.
Maybe people just wanted to hear us talk about Conclave, and maybe we could just be movie critics.
Okay, fine. Then why don't you go ahead and give us some details and be as movie criticky as you would like. But is it accurate? Is it worth watching? You know me in movies.
It's so bad.
I fall asleep.
Yeah,
so
you
I
fall
don't
asleep.
know.
I'm bad at like deciding if they're good. Like we're the two most terrible when it comes to movie critics. Okay, I guess I'm the one who saw it, so I don't want to spoil it.
How can you spoil it? A pope dies. They pick a new pope. There's drama and scandal. The end.
Oh my God, not even close. Like, first of all, crazy twist ending, like you would never expect. Total Hollywood.
The apocalypse happened, huh?
This is big. This is big. This is a big twist. I'm not gonna lie. That's good. Okay.
I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah. Yes, you got to go.
So aside from the ending, did they get the whole process right? Were they all flocked into the?
Oh, they were. They were
to the Vatican.
Hey, they weren't flocking around. Okay. They were. They were a bunch of bilious cardinals that got in a room. And with that definition, I mean ugly to look at. I'd say in some ways I got the whole thing right, like with the process, and in some ways like no. The whole secretive stuff, like the gestures and all the behind the scenes, I'm doing the air quotes again, jockeying for positions. Those are all really part of history. And it's obvious like the writers and directors or whoever, they did their homework and like the whole process. The actual voting takes place in rows, just like in the movie. The ballots are burned after each vote. Black smoke for no pope, white smoke for new pope.
Oh, that's how they make the smoke.
Totally.
That's cool.
Totally. I have a fun fact about that later. And at the beginning, I thought they did an incredible job, like locking them in and capturing the sense of isolation that like, I know all the cardinals would feel. Like I'm no cardinal, but oh crap, the music, the score.
Of course you'd pick up on the score.
No, it was, no. Because my son went with me to watch. Like the first thing we picked up on in the first 10 minutes, we were like, oh my God. So this thing like musically is like a horror movie. Like it's that good. The way they make it sound. The score is remarkable. Had me on the edge of the seat. And the way we're like closing the windows, they were showing the birds outside. Then they were like doing the sweep of the, like, you know, for all the devices. Then they would like show more stuff outside. All the noises were so crisp. And it was like, you knew they were going into isolation. It was insane. Job well done there. Okay. So then like they take some poetic license from there, like in other places.
Like where?
Like with the cardinals.
Like with their emotional turmoil or with their actual person?
Like the way they wrote them in, each one of their characters.
Backstory.
Yeah. All that. Yeah. Bingo. Nailed it. Thank you very much. So it's like so Hollywood. It's so blown up. All
but
the
that's
scandals.
What makes it juicy.
I know. And I guess in real life, they're not that big. I mean, I've never like seen a conclave or anything, but I would imagine with the shit that like happened in the movie, like I would think in real life, if that was really going on, that would have leaked out. So I don't know if it's real, but I don't know.
I know you don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
you got to give me like a little piece of the juice.
Okay. Simony, the whole bribing thing,
Okay.
like say they go big with that. That's like a whole storyline, right? But then there's like other big things like that, like big.
Like they have affairs with each other.
No, not that
Oh,
bad, but yes.
Affairs happen.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to stop there. Like, I'm not
All
doing
right.
anything else.
Okay.
And so could that really be true? Of course it could be true. Like, I don't know.
mean,
But look, here's the deal. The hard thing is you don't even know what's real and what's not real, because when you stratify like any group of people, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm sure most of the cardinals are really awesome religious people just trying to do the right thing. And then there's like a few dummies that muck it up for everyone else. So I'm sure that's true in every case with a bunch of groups of different people, right?
it's like
So-
one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Right. So I think that's the same thing that goes on. I don't know, but it probably doesn't help that they all have to be celibate. But anyway.
But they weren't or aren't.
Well, right. Apparently. Okay. You know what I think? Maybe we should allow porn in the Sistine Chapel then. Maybe that would solve the problems. All right. Whatever. Okay. Listen, who are we kidding? Who would want to watch a 2-hour movie of just cardinals sitting around and breathing anyway? Nobody.
So
So,
that's why you need the juice.
right. You do need the juice. So good on you for bringing in the juice. But actually, sort of fun fact about the movie, I actually even picked up on the breathing in the movie.
Speaking of breathing.
Super effective. Yes. No. It was so tense. And so Ralph Fiennes, like the greatest actor of all time. But every time there was like a tense scene, like all the music went off. It was not zero, like nothing. It was so well done. The tenseness, it was so good. I mean, the movie nailed the mood, but like skips all the tedious parts. So my opinion, Amanda, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
That's a high rating.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It's worth going to see. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then let's go see it.
Let's go. I'll rewatch
Okay.
it with you.
All right.
And I'll just, every time something's, I'll say, watch this part. You know how people do that in the movie theaters?
Yeah.
Shh, wait, watch this part.
Pay attention, pay attention.
Right. Like I wasn't watching
And
anyway.
the best part, I won't ask questions because you're going over all
Right.
the stuff.
All the
right
stuff
now.
right now. So you'll
Yeah.
know everything. You'll already be ready to go.
So then does the movie spend any time sort of inferring where the church is headed? Like what our next pope should be like? Or if there's even going to be a next pope?
Okay, like, but again, I don't want to spoil it. But let me say, yeah, you can infer some things from the ending. Like, I think it ended the way it did because of Hollywood. Like, I don't think anyone was making a political or religious statement, but I could be wrong. That was just my take. But if they were really wanting to make a statement about whether or not like the new pope will focus more on like reform or conservatism or something like that, no, they missed it. But there was definitely a twist, but I don't think it meant like that's where the church is headed. No. Yeah.
So they really missed the fact that the church is at a crossroads?
Yes, I would say yes, they did. They added something like a cliffhanger-y thing where it was like, maybe that's what you want to think, but like they didn't pick a play. They didn't pick a, like, this is where we're going. No way.
Is there going to be Conclave too?
They missed that. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. We'll see if it wins the Academy Award since it's
Oh, that's true.
That's
true.
Oscar worthy.
Really?
Yeah.
But then whoever they do elect next,
Yeah.
they're going to have to deal with the pressure of more transparency,
No,
more accountability,
Duh.
especially after everything
Yep.
the church is currently going through.
And let's hope they pick a woman because she would do better.
Oh, could that even happen? Is that allowed?
So no, not unless there's a reformer who gets elected that then decides women can, and then subsequently later we have them. So as of right now, hell no.
All right. So if we
Yeah.
take me back real quick to the history lesson,
Okay, what?
because I'm having fun relearning all of this stuff, or just learning, I should say, all
Right.
of this
Relearning,
stuff.
learning. Well, I'm sure you learned
Whatever,
it
it's all the
somewhere.
same.
Right, yeah.
But I think we should do a quick and dirty of some of the most polarizing popes we've ever had. You know,
Ooh,
it's
wanna add a
mostly,
little
it's mostly, yeah,
drama.
it's all the
Okay.
sauciness that I like, right?
Right.
But good or bad doesn't matter. But just the ones who had the most influence, maybe one way or another, on the church.
Okay.
Because there's like what 250 of them. And
Ish, yeah,
I don't
something like
know
that.
if I
Yeah.
can. We're not going to study all of it right now.
No, we're not. Because if we did that, we'd have to change the name of the podcast to VS instead of SOS.
VS.
VS, yeah. Very sophisticated.
No.
Instead of sort of sophisticated. Since we're only doing SOS, I did a little Googling. I found a good mix of 10 popes or so that span from like a few hundred years after Jesus all the way up to like now.
Okay.
And I'll go quick and I'll explain, let's say like, again, air quotes, the major point about each guy. All right?
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Pope Leo the First, 440.
Wait, time out.
Yeah,
One more question.
Yeah.
Do they get new names when they become pope?
they do. Totally. They pick a name. Yeah.
They pick a name.
They pick a name.
They get to pick their own
They
name.
pick their own name.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Pope Francis's name was Jorge Mario Bergoglio. And then he picked Francis, right? All right. So Pope Leo the First, 440, also known as Leo the Great, even though he didn't pick that name. He picked Leo. Okay. Super important because back in the day, he convinced Attila the Hun, not to attack the Roman Empire.
Seriously?
Totally. So he basically set the stage for popes to have political influence.
Dang,
That's Pope Leo.
that's crazy.
Right. I know. Okay. So
Who
then,
knew? I did not.
well, now you know.
I do.
The more you know. Okay.
Sure.
Then Pope John. We already talked about him in 953. We're going to skip him
Thank
because
God.
he was
He just needs to be done.
good old Johnny the 12th, the rapist. Okay. Number 3, we have Pope Gregory the 7th. That was 1073. So we're still way back in Middle Ages. He was known for cleaning house, like after all the corruption, after Pope John and subsequently some other ones after him, and reasserted like major papal influence over monarchs in Europe. Like, good guy, Pope Gregory VII, like, took it on the chin, clean. He drained the swamp.
Oh.
He was a swamp drainer.
Oh.
All right? All right.
We're not getting political.
Okay, fine. Okay, also Middle Ages, Pope Urban II. So that was in 1088. Basically started the Crusades.
Was that a good or bad thing?
Depends what side you're on. Okay, but like the Crusades, right? Overall history generally views them negatively, I guess, because like we were trying to spread Catholicism all over the place by killing a bunch of people for hundreds of years. Big shit. So Urban matters just because he started the Crusades. Okay?
He started killing people. Got it.
He did. Okay, then Pope Innocent III in 1198. So we're almost at 1200. Maybe the most powerful pope ever. Total legend. Okay? Basically ran all of Europe and excommunicated King John of England for being bilious. Come on. He was a total a-hole. Basically proving to the world he was in charge of everything.
Wow.
So Pope Innocent, most powerful pope ever. Of course, we have Alexander VI, a.k.a. Rodrigo Borgia. We already talked about him. Could be tied with Pope John as the most corrupt pope ever because he bribed everyone so he could be pope. Church low point, totally. That was him. Okay, then Pope Leo X. Now we're all the way up to 1500, like 1513, a.k.a. Giovanni de' Medici. That was his real name, Giovanni de' Medici. Another total rich mofo who made a shit ton of money in the banking industry, believe it or not, before he became pope. Then, because he like stuck his head in the sand and never really reformed anything, he single-handedly paved the way for Martin Luther and the whole Protestant Reformation thing. And they're like total split from Rome. So thank you, Pope Leo, for like literally starting Protestantism without even knowing because you were a douchebag. Then Pope, I can't, can I really call popes douchebags?
I don't know if you can.
Okay, I take that back. I don't want to get smited. Okay, then we have Pope Pius IX, 1846. We're getting more serious. We're getting closer. The longest serving pope ever, who was totally famous for presiding over the first Vatican Council in 1870, which is a big deal because that was the first time they decided on this thing called papal infallibility.
Like infallible? Infallible. Like you're never wrong, infallible?
Yeah. Like he decided the Pope is incapable of error when pronouncing truths when it comes to faith and morals.
That's a bold move.
Totally bold move. Totally agree. But remember, dude, if we're selecting the popes like the right way in the first place, the whole idea here is that he's supposed to be selected by God.
But he's not.
But he's supposed to be. Leave me alone. If they're doing this right, and this is all intervention of the Holy Spirit, and there's no corruption or anything, then technically speaking, papal infallibility should be a thing. You're just adding the whole corrupt component to it that we can't get away from. I totally understand. But I'm all for papal infallibility. Okay. Then you have Pope John the 23rd, 1958. We're getting closer to our time. Our second Vatican Council guy, which totally updated the church, thank God, literally. Finally letting Mass be celebrated in whatever language people used rather than Latin, which totally helped. So people didn't think Catholics were total batshit crazy.
That's all it took?
Seriously, you're hilarious. Okay. Like, Amanda, up until 1965, Mass had to be said in Latin.
It was a dying breed.
Okay, but now
why
like,
he needed
now
a
at least
reformer?
right now,
was John the 23rd a reformer?
Yes, he was a badass reformer.
Okay.
Let's go. John the 23rd. And then finally, we got good old Pope John Paul II, 1978. Okay.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah, totally, right? Yeah, more recently. Okay, yeah. So modern day game changer. First off, did you know he was the first non-Italian pope in over 400 years?
That's crazy. Italians are the juggernaut.
Totally the juggernaut, right? So I was doing all this research and I didn't even know until I finished this episode where I was like, wait, hold on, Italian pope. Like, no wonder this whole thing's batshit crazy corrupt because the Vatican's in Italy, even though it's a little country, like surrounded, but obviously it's
super tiny,
right there in Rome. Right. Anyway, Pope John Paul's claim to fame was helping the eventual fall of communism in Eastern Europe in the early 1990s. So another total badass for sure.
Who doesn't love that pope?
I think he's the greatest. All right, that's 10. That's my most influential popes, each from kind of a different era, a bunch of different shit going on, but whether they're reformers or conniving a-holes, can't deny they all shaped the church, Amanda, one way or the other.
I mean, indeed they did. But here's hoping from here on out we have more good ones than bad ones.
Amen to that, sister.
Either way, you're not going to get out of fun facts this episode. I know you gave one earlier, but I hope we got more.
Fun fact time. You know me, dude. I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right. Fun fact one. Most people already know about the black and white smoke thing, right?
Yep. You told us. Votes, fire, black and white smoke.
Beautiful. Okay. So originally wet straw or tar was added for black smoke and dry straw was added for white smoke. So I looked it up, and I guess they don't do that anymore. Now they use chemicals instead. Potassium perchlorate for white and anthracene for black.
Is it more environmentally friendly?
Right? Like, I don't think
Like,
so.
why'd they change it?
So the old ways were too unreliable. People were all confused when all this gray smoke would come out. And they were like, shit, I don't know. Do we have a new pope? Do we not have a new pope? Like, we need chemicals to fix this.
It's like Groundhog Day. Did it come up? Do you not?
Right.
Do you not?
I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
So then why don't they just like raise a flag or something instead of sending smoke signals? It seems like it'd be way easier.
I don't know. By the way, that's an excellent idea, and I have no idea why they don't just do that. And I bet it's because they want to keep this old tradition. It's tradition.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, number 2. Fun fact. So in the early days, conclaves could go on for years, literally. The longest conclave in history was the election of Pope Gregory X in 1271, which took, are you ready for this?
Ready.
3 years.
No way.
3 years, totally.
What?
Yeah.
What did they do? They were just popeless for 3 years and they all just stayed in the Vatican and there was no head of church or...
You just said popeless. That's awesome. We need a TM popeless. I don't even think that's a thing. I love that. Okay, that's ours. Popeless. Talk to my lawyers. Okay, so apparently, I don't know. I guess technically I shouldn't call it the longest conclave in history, right? Because 1, we don't have all the records of how long all that took, like in the early days, right? And 2, because of this problem, they actually developed the whole idea of the conclave in the first place. Up until then, it wasn't even called a conclave. It was just a bunch of cardinals hanging out and chilling. So after like 2 years or so, check this, the local magistrate, whoever that was, locked the cardinals in a building with the roof removed, and they were fed only bread and water to speed things up. And that's how the modern conclave was officially established.
That's barbaric.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Hardcore, man.
Yeah. So technically, that wasn't the longest conclave. That was the longest time it took before they started the conclave. Got it?
Yeah, they got to rush the process.
That was a long fun fact. Okay, number 3. The cardinals fill out ballots by writing a code name or pseudonym on it, not their actual names. And they do this so everything stays secret, right? Because they have to be super secret. They write the name of the chosen candidate on a slip of paper, fold it twice, then carry it up to the altar while chanting a prayer for divine guidance. You will see that in the movie. They nailed it. And super fun fact, each cardinal also has to place a second, air quotes, authentication mark on their ballot somewhere that can be used later in case of like a dispute or a tie.
So old school.
It is, totally. But that's what people like about it, I guess. So like if something comes up, they're like, oh, no, that was my vote because that's my mark that I put on there, right? So like they totally have a way of checking. Number 4. Okay, so we know you have to be under 80 years old to vote. And by the way, the distinction of oldest cardinal to ever vote was given to this guy named Cardinal Walter Casper, who was only like 3 days away from his 80th birthday when they elected Pope Francis in 2013. Shout out to Walter Casper. However, what you may not know is that any cardinal over the age of 80 can still participate in discussions.
AKA bribed people.
Wow. Yes. During the conclave, even though they can't vote. So they just stand in the corner and they're like, hey, dude, vote for this guy. Hey, dude, vote for that.
Use their influence.
Right. They're influencers. All right. Number 5. This one might be the most surprising. We were talking earlier about this one. Remember when you asked about can anybody technically be a pope?
Yes.
Okay. So theoretically, any baptized male Catholic can be elected pope.
What?
You don't have to be a cardinal or even a priest.
So you could be a pope.
I could be a pope. Just circumcised, baptized Catholic, baby. Let's go.
Stop it.
Right? That's it. I know. Now you know I'm circumcised. Okay. Anyway, I think it would be pretty hard to be recognized and voted for when you think about it. Who knows me? Like nobody knows. Like, oh yeah, we're voting for that guy. Like it's kind of dumb.
Well,
like,
I mean, they wouldn't vote for an American.
they're not right. Well, let's be honest. Right? Of course they wouldn't. But my point is like they're not going to vote for anybody who's not a cardinal, even though theoretically you could. Does that make sense?
Was Pope Francis a cardinal?
Pope Francis was totally a cardinal. Yeah.
Oh,
the last
okay.
non-cardinal pope was Pope Urban VI, elected in 1378. He was just a priest, not a cardinal. Number 6, the new pope gets a new wardrobe like really fast. So once a new pope is chosen, the papal tailor, Gammarelli, because they have a papal tailor, like that's the actual name of the company, Gammarelli, like has all the pre-made cassocks, like the things they wear, like
Sorry,
the
what?
Cassocks. Like what?
What's a cassock?
It's like the big long robe they wear.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the cassock. That is kind of a weird. I never thought
It's
about
like
it.
a sock.
Yeah.
For your body.
I wasn't thinking that, but
Okay.
yeah, okay. A cassock. Okay, so they have like all the different sizes ready. Like they have like 10 different sizes just in case, like because they don't know who it's going to be, right? Fat guys, short guys, little people, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They got it all ready. Okay, right in the Sistine Chapel. So after the decision's made, they shoot up the new pope in like 1 minute. They're done. He's a pope.
So as fast as Taylor Swift?
Oh, faster than Taylor Swift, dude. They're not messing around. They're ready to go. He's got to get outside. He's got to like.
Oh, it like happens right away.
Yes, like, hey, what's up, dude? Yeah, it's a whole like garment change. All right, number 7. Okay, so secrecy is so paramount, apparently, that before the conclave begins, Physical barriers and panels over the doors and windows are added to prevent unauthorized entry. And the movie Conclave nails it, like I told you earlier. Okay. Security experts install electronic jammers and signal blocking devices to cut off any wireless or electronic signals from entering or leaving the Sistine Chapel. Surveillance is also set up outside the chapel to monitor any attempted breaches. And finally, the chapel and surrounding areas are swept for bugs, hidden cameras, any recording devices before the conclave begins. All this is to ensure that all the conversations and activities remain completely confidential in case of bribes.
But it happens.
It does, because they're all
So it can happen inside.
Right, exactly. You nailed it. So it happens inside. Nobody knows. Let's go. Oh my God, I'm going to hell. Sorry. All right, last but not least, fun fact 8. The first official words from a newly elected pope come when the senior deacon cardinal announces Habemus Papam, which means we have a pope, right there from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. Until that moment, the identity of the new pope is kept secret from the public. Only after the announcement does the pope give his first blessing. That's all I got. Fun facts. All my little fun facty gems right out of the conclave, the whole process, how we pick our pope. Done. How'd I do?
Great as always. I mean, the fun facts are always fun. Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
So can I close, or you got anything else?
No. Close. I'm bored of myself. Go for it.
I mean, it was totally fascinating.
Thank you.
And it's something that I absolutely knew nothing about. A little blend of some ancient tradition, secret ballad.
A lot of secret ballots.
And divine intervention. Right?
Is there? Yeah, I'm hoping for divine intervention.
I guess we could be praying for.
We can. That's what we're going to do.
Sure.
Right.
But it's all rolled together with some murders and rapists.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that back around. Yeah.
Well, that's the fascinating part, right?
Okay, yeah. Murders, rapists, ancient tradition, secret ballot. I love what you just did there. Yeah, that was good.
Before you close out, you want to give me really short takeaways that we can memorize, like flashcards, so we can be smart and stuff?
Oh my God. Let's do this. I don't know if we're going to be smart. We're certainly going to be engaging and interesting. That is for sure after this, right?
That's true. And we just need little tidbits, right? You just got to feel like the smartest person in the room.
That's our job. Let's go. Okay. So first, obviously, watch Conclave. It's awesome. Totally worth it. And if you like it, watch The Two Popes. So that one came out in 2019 with Anthony Hopkins. Personally, I think it was even better. Like way more drama.
Wasn't Anthony Hopkins like really horror-ish?
No, this is excellent. Like he plays Pope Benedict. Like this is so well done. It's a much more intimate, and it's about the transition between Benedict to Pope Francis. So it's a lot slower and a lot more, I don't want to say dramatic. What's the word I'm looking for? Like they just go so deep into character development. It is so excellent. Conclave is just dramatic. Okay. Like it's a flair for the dramatic, and it's more Hollywood. So you could start with Conclave, and then if you care enough about the subject matter, The Two Popes was like
dig a little deeper.
Excellent. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then after that, there's not much else to do except remember like to watch the next like conclave when it happens, and remember these few details to seem sort of sophisticated. 1, the office of the Pope originated with St. Peter, whom Catholics consider the first Pope based on Jesus entrusting him with the keys of heaven. By the Middle Ages, the conclave was formalized to safeguard against external pressures, and tradition aimed at keeping the process within the church since basically the 11th century. Number 2, the College of Cardinals, composed of senior bishops and Vatican officials under the age of 80, is responsible for electing the new pope. The cardinals are literally locked in the Sistine Chapel during the conclave, isolated from the outside world until they reach a decision, ensuring the secrecy and sanctity of the process. They vote by a secret ballot, and the public is alerted via smoke signals. Number 3, while cardinals are meant to be guided by the Holy Spirit, political alliances and factions within the conclave historically have influenced the outcome, sometimes in a not so great way. So people, if we're going to do anything, we need to pray for our cardinals. And finally, the conclave was initially dominated by Italian cardinals, but lately, as we've gotten a little more modern, representation has diversified. Popes outside of Italy, like Pope John Paul II from Poland, Pope Francis, of course, from Argentina, have signaled a move towards a global church perspective. And today, the College of Cardinals reflects this diversity, continuing to add new members from around the world in order to build a more robust and diverse church here on earth. That's all I got.
Well, there you have it, dear listeners, the Vatican's version of divine draft day.
Wait, time out. They're only picking one pope. It's not like a whole draft. They're not like drafting a quarterback and like a running back.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so it's okay, but I guess you're right. They are drafting. Okay, divine draft day. Go. My bad, yo.
I mean, it's the origin story of how they picked Pope, right?
It is.
After rounds of secret votes, dramatic pauses, and a few centuries of scandals, we're left with a new Pope who's hopefully ready to steer the world's largest religious ship without hitting any political icebergs. Fair enough?
Let's hope so.
We'd like to think we've shared just enough information to make you either a flaming nuisance or a little more sophisticated to your fellow humans. Sort of. And if you enjoyed this episode and found it particularly interesting...
I found it interesting, Amanda. This was one of my favorite episodes, actually. I liked this one.
Well, it was a good one.
Because I got to watch a movie to do... I was doing
You gotta do research.
My research was watching a movie. It was excellent. Okay, whatever. Tell our subscribers to do something now.
Well, listeners, don't forget to subscribe.
Okay, good. Right.
Leave a review and share with your peeps. And just remember, next time you see that whole white smoke rising, you're not just witnessing tradition, you're watching history. And maybe a little divine law being unfolding before your very eyes. Who knew God's will came with such a flair for suspense? Until next time, stay curious and stay inspired.